The great thing about generative AI, like ChatGPT, is that it's easy to use. All you need to do is to just get started and to get into the habit of using it on a regular basis. In this video, I'm going to share with you the guiding principles on how to improve and accelerate your learning with ChatGPT and other generative AI. These are the steps that I teach to my students to help them improve their skills in generative AI, especially ChatGPT. Now, the great news is that we are still early. And if you start putting time in every day where you just make it a habit to use ChatGPT, you will quickly become one of the leaders in your field in generative AI. This is an opportunity for anybody to excel in their career, to help improve their business. So when I share these guidelines, you're probably going to think this is too simple. This can't be it. Follow these guidelines. You will accelerate your learning of ChatGPT and other generative AI, and you will find yourself in conversations with people where you know more than most about ChatGPT, about generative AI, and you will realize that you are now one of the leaders. That's where I want you to be. Now, it always takes me a little bit of time to put these together. So if you could please like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. Also, you'll see in the video, I sped it up to 1.2x speed because I'm an adjunct professor. I tend to speak slowly. I'm told that I speak slowly, so I sped it up to make it a little bit more convenient for you. Enjoy the video. Great thing about generative AI technology is that it's easy to use. It's really not that complicated once you start using it on a regular basis. The most complicated part of generative AI is the speed at which it's evolving. And that's why it's so important to get started. So I wanted to share with everybody the generative AI guiding principles. These are the principles, the tips, the hacks. If you follow them and you get started today, you can very quickly get to the top 10 percentile in generative AI knowledge in your field. And it's really not that hard. First thing is you just need to use it like you currently use Google. And what I mean by that is have it open on your desktop all the time. You want it front of mind, have it open all the time on your desktop, and then just get into the habit of asking it questions. You have the smartest, most caring, most patient teacher in the world. And if you're hesitant to use it because you're not sure how to prompt it or ask it questions, just get that out of your mind. Ask it questions like you would ask a human. And if you don't get the response or the answer you're looking for, just have a follow up question. Again, it's one of the most patient, caring, smartest teachers you're ever going to have. So you can keep asking it questions and it'll be happy to continue answering those questions for you. Now, as you use this, I want you to get into the habit of asking yourself, can I do this faster? Can I do this easier? Can I do this better with ChatGPT? By doing that, you gain the muscle memory where you don't even have to think that way. It's just automatic. And that's really where I want you to be, is that automatic. Now, as far as using generative AI technology, you want to think in terms of people first, people last. And what I mean by that is people first. You always want to start with your ideas, your voice. Then you let the generative AI create whatever it is that you're asking it to create and speed up that process. You jump back in, you check the work, you make sure there's no AI hallucinations, and you make sure your voice is consistent throughout so it appears as if you're not even using generative AI. That's the proper way to use it. People first, people last. And when you use this and you speed up the process of creating your documents and it saves you hours and takes only minutes, it feels like it's cheating. Well, it's not. It's smart. It's the way everybody is going to be doing business. You're just getting a head start. So don't ever think that it's cheating. Now, I'm at a point where I have that muscle memory where 100% of everything I create has an AI complement to it. So if generative AI can play a role in whatever it is that I'm creating, I have that muscle memory, that automatic mode that I'm in where I use generative AI. This is where I want you to be. Now, this takes time. And if you follow those steps that I just shared with you, where you keep it open all the time on your desktop and you start asking yourself and getting into the habit, can I do this faster? Can I do this easier? You're eventually going to get there. I want it to be so automatic that it is just muscle memory for you. Now, here's a slide of images created from a text to image maker called Midjourney. This is by far the best, or at least one of the best, text image maker that's out there. Now take a look at this. From version 1 to version 5.1, it's the same prompt. Create an image of Jack Sparrow from the movie Pirates of the Caribbean. And notice on version 1, we have basically a Picasso version of Jack Sparrow. But by the time we get to version 5.1, we have a Johnny Depp looking Jack Sparrow. And notice the dates. Version 1 was released February 2022. Version 5.1 was released May of 2023. That's a 15-month time span. Think about the evolution of this generative AI in such a short period of time. Now, why am I showing this to you? The reason why is because generative AI evolves this fast. So, if you're using generative AI right now and you're getting something out of that generative AI that's not really all that good, what I don't want you to do is to say to yourself, this generative AI is really not helpful, and then just walk away from it. What I want you to do is think about this slide here and think, well, this generative AI gave me something that really wasn't that good, but I could see in about 12 months, this is going to be amazing. That's the mindset that I want you to have with generative AI because all of it is evolving this quickly. And never forget that AI hallucinations will always exist. They are interwoven into the DNA of generative programming. And the reason why is because of the way generative programming works. And the way it works is simply this is if there is a gap of information, the generative programming kicks in and will fill that gap with what it believes should be there. And sometimes it gets it wrong. So you have to always assume there's going to be AI hallucinations. So how do you avoid it? First of all, test it to failure. Use your knowledge and start asking ChatGPT some very detailed questions and continue to follow up with even more detailed questions. And eventually it will fail. Eventually it will hallucinate. You need to experience that so that you can just be mindful that it does happen. Cross verify everything. ChatGPT is a helpful tool. It answers really quickly. It always seems like it has the answer, but it's not infallible. So check everything. Assume whatever you're doing with it is 50 to 98% complete. Again, people first, people last. Check everything that you do, regardless of how little the task. Even if you're just asking it to check your email for grammar, still check it before you send it out there in the world. If you're sharing this with your whole team, you should have an AI usage policy and a training program to make sure that nobody on your team is using it incorrectly and creating AI hallucinations and sending that out there. Remember, all generative AI can hallucinate, and all generative AI is training on your data. So if you are using generative AI that is unencrypted, do not put confidential or proprietary information on there. And then lastly, what I like to do when I'm researching something that I'm not that familiar with and I want to avoid or at least mitigate AI hallucinations, what I do is what I call a generative AI super search. So first, what I'll do is I'll go to ChatGPT and prompt it to research whatever topic I'm researching. And then I'll go to at least two of ChatGPT's competitors. I'll go to Claude and prompt it with the same research request. Then I'll go to Perplexity and prompt it with the exact same research request. Then I will combine all three responses and have all three of the large language models compare each other's for any contradictory information. And by doing that, I decrease the potential for AI hallucinations. And lastly, I want you to get into the habit of GPT pairing. So anytime you can create a GPT, a chatbot that can help increase the efficiency of a mundane task, then you should be getting into the habit of doing it. For instance, some of the chatbots that I've created, Grammar Guru. This chatbot checks all my grammar. I don't have to ask it to do it. It has been created to automatically assume that that's what I want. Viral Genius. Whenever I create a post for social media, I run it through Viral Genius. We'll rewrite it and add characteristics that'll help it go viral. And a KPI builder. A lot of times, business owners and leaders struggle with their team in creating measurable KPIs, key performance indicators for them. So I created this chatbot where all you have to do is upload the job description of that individual, and the KPI builder will make suggestions on key performance indicators to use for that individual. So everybody should get into the habit of GPT pairing. Now, just so you know, these GPTs tend to be good. They're not great yet. But I want you to get into the habit of creating these chatbots because think about the evolution of Midjourney and the images of Jack Sparrow. These chatbots are going to be amazing in 12 months, and they're going to be able to create great efficiency internally for your clients, and you'll find ways to increase revenue using them. The good news is that we're still early. Even if you haven't started yet, this is your opportunity. Begin to follow these principles, and you will catch up fast, and you will find yourself in the top 10 percentile in your field in generative AI. So get started today.